We are 6 months into the year, which means we are halfway through 2025, which is crazy, which means it's time for our 6-month reading wrap up. I've got a huge stack of books beside me, which is all the books I've read so far this year, and I've read some on my Kindle as well, so I have to make sure that I didn't skip any of those. I read 25 this year, and of those there's been 6 5-star, 4.5, 6 4 stars, 2 3.5, and 5 3. Just got my little reading log up behind the camera, so that's where I'm looking because I track it all on Notion. I'm going to try to keep this quick and short so it doesn't turn into an hour-long video, but I've talked about a lot of these in depth in other videos before, so you can go have a look at those if you want. So I guess we'll just jump straight into it with the first book I read this year, Anxious People by Frederick Backman. I rated this a 3 stars. Look, it was just not my book. I know people who loved it. It just wasn't really my genre, I don't think. Basically, there was an open house for an apartment and this person has come in and taken them all hostage and won't let them leave. But you get everyone's perspective in the apartment and you kind of get to like peel back the layers of everyone in there, including the instigator of the hostage situation, and you kind of begin to understand their reasoning. Yeah, just a little bit into their life. And that's honestly the main gist of this book. There's like 2 settings, the apartment and the police station, and it just wasn't really for me, but it was an enjoyable read. Next up, we read on Kindle, no we didn't. Next up, I thought it was time to embark on the Crescent City series, which I also got for Christmas, and I rated the first one a 4.5. Now, I did read them interspersed between other books, but I'm just going to talk about them all now because if you've ever read a series like this, it's sort of hard to differentiate what happens in the different books. It's kind of just like one big story. It's basically a very political story. There's different houses and all the different creatures are separated into these houses. If you've ever read a Sarah J Maas book, you just know the world building, the history, the language, everything is so intricate in these books. And if you're up for a really heavy fantasy, this will definitely be the one. I loved it, not as much as her other series, but she just writes such a good fantasy world. It's heavy, so I'm going to put it down now. Following the first one of that, I think I just wanted a bit of a fun book, so I read just for the summer. I think I was put into a bit of a slump after that huge book, and I just felt like something I know I loved and that I would enjoy, and I rated this a 5-star again. In all honesty, it's a 6 stars both time I've read it. This is my favorite romance. It follows Emma and Julian. Emma and her friend have this fun tradition of every few months choosing a new place to live. Emma meets Julian online and he basically says as a joke, you should come here. She ends up choosing his city for that time. Julian has some family dramas. He basically has to take custody of all of his kids, so he can't really delve into a romance with her because he's got the responsibility of, I think, 3 children. And you know, there's other issues like Emma's toxic mother that they have to go through. It's not just a romance. It focuses on so much more, and Abby Jimenez is a genius. After that, I read a Kindle book called Ready or Not, and from my memory, I think it was this girl had a one-night stand and then she got pregnant. She doesn't want to get pregnant, but her best friend's been trying for ages, so it kind of caused a bit of a rift between them. And then it's a romance between her and the best friend's brother, who kind of supports her through it. And I rated that. That was a 3 stars for me. It was a nice read, it just didn't really stick out to me, but again, I know people who love it. We embarked on Onyx Storm. Where to even begin? I ended up rating this a 4 stars. Fourth Wing isn't one of my top series of all time, like I know it is for a lot of people. It's a good series. I just think there's other fantasies that I like better. Onyx Storm I found confusing and there were just a lot of names, but once you looked past that, there were some enjoyable bits and it kind of kept you on the edge of your seat. But I just think since I hadn't read the other 2 for a really long time, I was just a bit confused, but I don't know if that hindered my experience or not. After Onyx Storm, I needed a fun romance. I'm not sure if you're seeing the pattern here. After fantasy, I always need a fun romance. So that one was The 7 Year Slip, which I also read on Kindle. I rated this 5 stars. I loved it. It was exactly what I needed. It was a sweet, fun book. Our main character's auntie has this apartment, which she always called was magical. And then the auntie passes away and the girl has to move in. And it turns out it is magical. And every time you leave, you come back into a different time, I think. And then in the past, she meets this guy And every time she goes back into the apartment in the past, they have great times together. But then when she walks out in the present, he's not in her life. So she tries to basically find him in the present time. I won't say anything more than that because I don't want to spoil, but it was genuinely such a good read. It was just sweet. Oh, and then following that, I read The Favourites, which was another 5 stars, I'm pretty sure. Oh, 4.5. Again, super enjoyable. It was about ice skating, which I've never read about, don't know anything about, and suddenly I was so invested. It kind of felt like celebrity drama, kind of blasted on the news for everyone to see, but then you got to be inside the heads of the celebrities and what was actually happening behind the scenes, which was really interesting. And yeah, it was just an addictive story about this girl who's had the dream of ice skating since she was little, joining with her childhood best friend. And then they meet, you know, a lot of the other competitors, and it's a super high intensity competition. There's sabotages, cheating, all the rest of it. After that, I read the second Crescent City book, which I already spoke about. And then I moved on to the first book in the Emily Wilde's Encyclopaedia of Faeries series. Oh, that's where my bookmark went. This was a 5-star for me. It was just cute and cozy. It was a cozy fantasy, and I love our main character. She's so likable and witty and funny and a little bit awkward, if I'm being honest. Maybe I resonated with her a bit. She's building this encyclopedia of all the different types of fairies, and so she travels to this land who has the most elusive type of fairy so she can try and document it for her encyclopedia. And her co-worker ends up surprising her and coming along with her, who she finds really annoying, and it ends up being a bit of a romance as well as a fantasy. Just a cute, cozy book to read with a cup of tea. I read Next Summer Romance by Annabelle Monaghan, and that was, 4 stars. If I'm being honest, I can't really remember. I think it's the lady just got divorced and she's kind of in a big slump in her life. She's not happy with anything. And then she meets someone at a dog park, I'm pretty sure. I should probably search this up. I'm pretty sure she meets this guy at a dog park and it kind of like brings life back for her. Can't really remember much else. No, it was good. I remember enjoying it. Oh, then I read Carrie Soto is Back, which was an absolute no-brainer, 5 stars for me. Taylor Jenkins Reid, everything I've read of hers has been 5 stars. She is truly gifted. All of her books are so unique and different, but they're all amazing. Carrie Soto is Back focuses on tennis, which again, never thought I would care about tennis, but here we are. It basically follows the life of this girl, Carrie Soto, ever since she was a child. Her and her father trained her for the tennis, and she's had her dream that she will be the best tennis player, and she's determined to get there, and some people on the media think she's rude for it. She doesn't care because she knows she's the best. Nothing much more to say other than it's amazing and you need to read it. Yeah, that's what I'll leave it at. After that, I jumped back into the Emily Wilde's book and I read the second one, which is sort of the same premise as the first, so I won't get too much into it. I also rated this a 5 star. And I read a new release, Say You'll Remember Me by Abby Jimenez. And I'm not gonna lie, I was a bit disappointed. I think I rated it a 3 because, as you know, I rated a lot of her other books 4 or 5s, even 6s. And so this, to me, I think I had my expectations a bit too high. It just didn't really hit for me. These two people meet and have the perfect first date, but then she has to move hours away because her mum is sick. And they both really like each other, but they basically can't be together because of the distance. I just felt like the whole book was a bit repetitive about the same issue. Still a nice read, but not the best. Then I picked up The Conditions of Will, which was a 4.5. And upon reflection, I'm not sure if it's a 4 or 4.5, but I spoke about it in another vlog, I think. But the main character, Georgia, basically comes from this super conservative family, and she never got along with her family, so her and her brother sort of left home when they were really young, but now their dad has died, and so they're back with the family for the first time in years, and there's just a lot of unresolved issues to go through with them. And also in the will, her dad left a huge amount of money to this random stranger who none of them knew. So that's also a bit of a mystery that they have to go figure out who is this person. And yeah, I think it focused on family issues really well. The romance was nice, but I think, yeah, it focused a lot on the grey areas of life. Our pile has gotten quite short, but I do have a lot on Kindle still. Next up was Grey Big Beautiful Life, another new release. I did a whole video on those 3 like reading new releases, so you can go see that if you want. This was a 4 star. There's this famous person, Margaret, who went into recluse years ago, but now she's ready to tell her story, and so these two writers basically go to meet with her and they're going to battle for who gets to write the story. Obviously there's a bit of a romance between them as well, so they both like each other but they are in competition for their dream job, and there's some plot twists and secrets, and just wasn't a 5 for me. I can't remember what it was about it now because it was a few months ago, but there was something about it that just didn't quite hit. I think maybe the pacing was a bit off. The start was really slow and the end was jam-packed, and there were some other issues that didn't quite make it a 5, but it was still a really good read. Then I read the third and final book in the Crescent City series. Then following that I read Deep Cuts by Holly Brickley, which I think I rated a 5, which upon reflection I don't think it's a 5, it's probably more a 4.5 or a 4. I thought it was a really interesting concept. A couple friends basically are really into songwriting and they meet at college to write songs, and it's kind of like normal people, you know how there's that one person who you will like always come back to at different stages in life. It was kind of like that. They kept meeting at all these different stages in life years and years later, and they just couldn't let each other go. I really liked it. I thought it was quite addictive. And then I read the last book in the Emily Wilde series, which I rated a 4. Following that, I read Boy Swallows Universe by Trent Dalton because I got it at a secondhand bookstore. It was really cheap, and I think it's a classic that a lot of people have talked about, and I personally didn't really like it. It was a 3.5. I can see why people like it, but I don't think it was my type of book. It was an Australian fiction surrounding this family with 2 young boys, and the family sort of really involved in the whole drug dealing part of the world. And yeah, there's a lot of obstacles and challenges in their life that they have to overcome, and it was just a really heavy book. When I read, I don't want a really heavy book. I kind of want a fun book that I can relax to, but I know a lot of people really liked it and I can see why. It just wasn't for me. So then following that, I needed something light and fun. So I read Better Than the Movies by Lynn Painter, and I really loved it. It was a 4 for me. It was just fun. It's a high school romance. It's a bit of a childhood romance. It's really sweet. Our main character, Liz, is a hopeless romantic, and her childhood crush has moved back into town, and she takes this as a sign from the universe that she needs to take him to prom. And so she enlists the help of her neighbor, Wes, because him and the childhood crush are friends, and she ends up finding out Wes isn't as annoying as she thought he was. I think you can see where it's going. It was just, yeah, really, really sweet. Surprisingly, for a high school romance, I didn't find it that cringy either. After that, I started Binding 13. So many people have been telling me to read it, but the series just scared me. It's a huge, huge series. I read Binding 13 and Keeping 13 back to back. They were both a 3-star for me. I'm not sure how I feel about them. I think the writing was quite subpar. I found out later that it was actually on Wattpad first, which kind of all makes sense. There was an addictive quality about it. I think they were quite repetitive at times, but it dealt with some heavy issues. And yeah, as I said, there was something quite addictive about it, and the characters were likable, some of them. I didn't love it as much as everyone, I think, told me I would, and that's okay. I might continue this series later. Following that, I read the second Better Than the Movies book, which was Nothing Like the Movies, which was also a 4 stars, and it focuses on Liz and Wes in college now instead of high school. And again, just a really fun book. I think I just really like those characters and the banter between them. And the most recent book I've read is Love on a Bookshelf. I got this in a blind book day, which me and my friends spontaneously did a 3.5. This author's first adult book, and I think for her first adult fiction, she did a great job. The way it was described on my blind book day was, think Grumpy Meets Sunshine, cozy bookstore setting, and I can't remember the other 2, but I'll put up a photo. And that sold me, and it delivered. It was exactly what it said it was. The main character, Clary, owns a bookstore, which was her grandmother's, but her grandmother's now in a nursing home, so Clary has taken over and everything's just falling apart and she's so stressed. This really successful author, Declan Archer, comes in and they have a little interaction, and then a few years later he actually dedicates his next book to her, and they end up going on this book tour because of it, and finding out things about themselves, falling in love with owning the bookstore again. And yeah, it was just really sweet. If you liked Book Lovers by Emily Henry, you would definitely love this. Very similar themes and situations, which I think she took inspiration from, which is fine. I didn't mind it actually. Yeah, I was pleasantly surprised from my blind book day experience, and I haven't heard anyone talk about this, so hopefully we can put this book on the map. And those are all the books I've read so far in 2025. I'm currently almost finished on Atmosphere, which is Taylor Jenkins Reid's new one, and I'm really liking it at the moment. But yeah, I think we've had a successful beginning half of the year, and I'm excited to see what the second half brings. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you very soon.